So I got a kind of an outline, but I didn't send it to nobody. So we're just gonna freestyle it.
This
Yeah,
is a
go ahead.
thing. Shandin always says,
Yeah.
I haven't prepped for this, or I haven't made an outline. I've never read one of his outlines. Never. He'll email them to me like, here's some notes. Never looked at them. And I've told him I don't look at them, but he still insists on doing them. But that's the difference between a PhD and an MA. I'm just saying.
That's not the only difference, friend.
Come on. There is. That's the only difference.
No, I said
I know,
that's not the only difference.
There's one other difference.
Oh, you know.
It's called comms.
Okay. Pretty much.
You're like, well, actually, that was the difference I was going to mention. Go ahead, start. Let's get going.
Give me the thumbs up if you can hear this. Ready? This isn't exactly the intro that I thought it was going to be. What did I do? Oh, I switched the names. All right, here goes. I don't know what I did. This is just a marker pretty much, but we're going to listen to this.
Play solid there.
Listen to this. Yep. What? No. Engage. Pick your eyes up.
No.
What is this? What did I do?
Just, is there a song?
I grabbed the wrong one. I can change that real quickly. There's a song, and I put a lot of work into it.
Just play the song.
Not this one. This isn't the one. What?
Apparently not that much.
What the hell happened? Where did those save to?
Bush League.
This is Bush League.
This is Bush League.
Yeah. Where is it at? All right. I know where it's at. I didn't test this. God darn it. What a dunce. Hold on.
If you could hear the first 10 minutes of every podcast before we the stuff we publish, you would have never agreed to do this.
All right. I'm just going to play this right off of. Yeah. There's the right one. Can you hear that? Yeah.
Wow. What are we looking at here?
More importantly, can you hear it? No, cannot hear it. I didn't share the sound. That's why.
No.
Son of a gun. All right. Let's do this again. Share sound. Okay. Here it is. Let's see if you can hear this. Just by chance, we was getting Salisha wanted to go to the bead store, in Spokane. So we went down there and he strolled in just out of the blue. I was like, holy cow, Acorn, what's up? And, just looking for some spots or I don't know what he was looking for. He's trying to refresh his gear. I guess he hadn't worn it in a while. And, yeah, trying to spruce it back up. Get it into the 2020s.
Yeah.
I don't know what it takes these days.
Yeah.
Next level outfits out there, Yeah.
You remember post 9/11, the American flag outfit made a comeback.
Oh, it did for a while.
In fact, we was at a bow. And you said, man, ever since 9/11, you were talking about somebody. It's like his outfits sure made a comeback.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The one I liked was this was pre 9/11, but the one I liked was when people tried to put the Canadian and American flag together. In the
Oh,
outfit.
like
Yeah.
they do the half flags on both sides.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
yeah,
dude.
yeah.
I think even Black Lodge had an album cover.
Oh yeah. Bit of maple, a little bit of maple leaf, a little bit of starred stripes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh glory.
Oh
You better-
glory and some maple.
You better say that with your chest.
You bet. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, Acorn, he says my post Thanksgiving dinner is dried up leftovers. Oh, you gotta put it away, man. You gotta wrap it up, cover it, put it in the fridge. But no, I don't mind a little dry meat turkey. You know,
Dude,
that
especially
end.
dried mashed potatoes. Sign me up, dude. Sign me up.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Not a lot of things from Thanksgiving you can leave out for long. You ever had a bad turkey? You don't forget that.
Yeah,
Oh
dude.
man. That's
You know,
awful.
and the truth is, give me a rotisserie chicken over a turkey any day.
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
week.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You have to. Yeah.
What?
Why don't
what
they do
got up
rotisserie
there in
turkeys?
Canada?
Why don't they do rotisserie turkeys? That's what I want to know.
I think it's weird. I don't know what the deal is with turkeys and their management because
Yeah.
they're really only big 2 months out of the year.
And their management.
Yeah, their management team, their
Turkey
management
management.
team is dropping the ball, dude, because chicken's killing it.
They are, man. We need Costco to do a rotisserie turkey. Yeah.
Dude, chicken is killing it, dude. I mean, you got your fried chicken, you got
Yeah.
your baked chicken,
Oh yeah.
you got your white meat, your dark meat, you got your thighs,
Yeah.
you got your breast, you got sliced, smoked,
Yeah.
salted, unsalted.
Yeah.
I mean, you
Yeah.
got chicken fingers,
Chicken strips,
you got dino
Chicken-
bites,
chicken nuggets,
You got-
chicken patties.
dude, you got
You got
and the combinations are endless.
chicken
with
soup,
chicken.
chicken soup.
Dude, chicken soup,
Chicken-
chicken noodle soup. You got
Oh, buffalo wings, Acorn, buffalo wings.
buffalo
Yeah,
wings.
buffalo wing. We forgot about the
Dude.
buffalo wing. Yeah,
So
or
like,
just wings.
just
also.
wings,
Buffalo
in
wings,
general,
wings.
dude. And meanwhile, why not turkey wings, dude?
I
Why
know.
not turkey buffalo wings?
Who eats the
Dude.
turkey wing on Thanksgiving? I do.
Oh, dude,
The wing.
I'm all dark meat. I'm
Oh,
all
yeah,
dark
I
meat.
know. Yeah, you got to go dark.
Dude, even Cornish game hen is killing turkey, dude. Dude, Cornish game hen is destroying turkey right now.
We need to get turkey management on the line.
Yeah, dude. What is their deal?
I don't know.
Explain it to me, man.
Well, what's their life? What's their life cycle? Maybe they can only get them fat one time out of the year, so they just concentrate on the Thanksgiving. I don't know.
There's no shortage of turkeys.
I wouldn't
dude.
think.
There's no shortage of turkeys,
I
dude.
wouldn't think.
I say you get turkey nuggets going.
Why not? Dino nugget,
The o-
dino turkey
dude,
nuggets.
The only thing that turkey's doing outside of these 2 months, turkey sliced meat. That's it. You
Yeah,
can
that's what I
get
was
turkey
thinking.
meat.
Turkey slice meat. Yeah, what else is there? There's nothing else, right? Turkey lunch meat. Turkey. Oh,
You got turkey gravy.
Can you get turkey gravy? Oh, you can get turkey bacon, can't you?
Which
Tur-
actually isn't bad, dude.
turkey bacon? I don't think I've tried it.
It's not bad.
It's not bad. Turkey bacon.
Here's the question. I want to know something. You don't have to add this in the podcast if you don't want. You can edit this out. But
Okay.
I want to know, when did your people, the Salish people, often referred to as the Flathead Indians, when did they become dependent on buffalo?
dependent on buffalo? That's probably 1650, 1720. I don't know. Like when the horse started becoming a thing. That's what I would
So
guess.
they were not buffalo people before that.
I wouldn't say that we weren't, but wasn't as dependent on it. It was just
So
enterprise of convenience, you know. If there was buffalo,
yeah.
well,
So
you
do you feel
hunt
like
buffalo. There's elk, you hunt the elk.
you have do you have evidence for that? Like, is there evidence showing that there was less in the record before the horse and then a huge influx after, or what are you basing that off of? I'm just curious.
Probably um I probably read it somewhere, but I don't know exactly where. But I don't know who exactly conjures up the evidence, but it seems to make sense. I mean, why on earth would
Okay,
you
but
walk?
you're not.
What? What?
I mean, but that could be argued, right? You could just say that means killing buffalo was in larger quantities
Yeah,
versus sporadic spot hunting after the horse.
right.
So you could say
Right.
like they still
Became
depended on buffalo.
yeah, yeah, no, yeah, yeah. Well, because the range
So
of
what was
buffalo was
what was
far
it?
wider than prior to the horse, as far as I know.
And what did they make their homes out of? The teepee. What was the teepee made out of?
Well, before I think prior to the skin teepees, it was the Thule lodges.
So you guys were Thule people?
Yeah,
We're
at some
both.
point.
We're
Yeah, at
we're
some
both
point.
plains and
Yeah,
plateau. We're both.
yeah. So when the buffalo became more prominent, then it was
Mhm.
the skin teepees because
Mhm.
they're easier to transport than a bundle of Thules because they just bust up if you're trying to travel around with them. I would
Yeah.
imagine. I would imagine. But I think,
But
this
you
is
don't know
weird.
that. You don't.
I mean, so from my experience, the things that I've read and know, things that I've been told, that's what I know. But yeah, I can't cite a body of evidence or
Do
scholarship.
you guys have an origin story for the buffalo? Like when the buffalo came to your people?
No.
Or
I
have you
don't-
heard one? That's the real question.
There's stories where buffalo are in stories, in creation stories.
Do you have ancient stories that have buffalo in them?
I don't know if I could judge whether a story was ancient or not, except by the actors in the story. So some stories have human actors,
Yeah.
which seem
Yeah.
not contemporary, as in within the last 500 years, but within a
Yeah.
time range back into the thousands of years. I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So you don't have them stories that are like some of your oldest known stories related to monsters and your creation and all that stuff. There's nothing in there where there's buffalo. So in terms of your oral history, that's recent. That those stories are recent. Is that what I'm hearing?
I mean, I would guess. Yeah, it seems to make sense.
Because I would argue that.
Okay.
I would say that scientifically, it's according to the record, the flatheads have been in the plains for a long time, right?
Right.
A long time. There's like two major migrations to the plains and then back to the plateau and then to the plains again.
Yeah.
And that just based on the record that
Yeah.
there's ample scientific evidence showing that the flatheads harvested buffalo well before the horse.
Yeah, yeah.
And it would almost be impossible for the Salish people to be plains people and not be primarily dependent on the buffalo, even before the horse.
Yeah. Yeah. So those that did reside east of the Rockies probably were having.
Do you think it's also possible that like there's say there's 3 or 4 major groups of the Bitterroot Salish? We're just talking about them. Like there's these sub bands.
Yeah.
And that they live throughout different regions of the plateau and the plains.
Yeah.
But over time, their stories become molded into one thing. So that also means that certain groups of those Bitterroot Salish, their narratives are going to kind of dominate So like, let's just say
Yeah.
this is all fake, right? But let's just say you had a group of Salish people that lived on the Yellowstone, right?
Yeah.
Then you had a group of Salish people that lived in the Centennial Valley down by Dillon. Then you had
Sure.
one that lived in Hayden Lake, Idaho. Okay. They're all culturally the same group of people, speak the same language, and there's a lot of interaction between them. Now,
Sure.
once they're placed on the reservation, their oral histories start to come together. Do you
Mhm.
think that it's possible for one of those groups to become the dominant group? Then that means their stories become the narratives for all the groups.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. Of course. We were just talking about an example of this. Well, Salisha was looking up a story about the teepee from the crows.
Okay.
And I told her, I said, "Oh, that must have been adopted from someone because prior to coming to the Montana area, you all lived in the earth lodges, yeah?"
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're Oh, generally, yes, you're right.
Yeah. So then that story must have been something similar to what you're just talking about. It was became the crow story from somewhere else, someone who did use the teepee.
I would actually say it's the story is crow. The main feature of the story is not.
Right, the teepee.
So the story of White Owl and Yellow Leggins being given the teepee is really the story of the origin of the Earth Lodge.
Okay.
So when we come here, we primarily adopt the teepee because there was a form of the teepee that existed among the Hidatsa and the Crow as kind of a temporary home while
Wiki
you're
up.
on large. Yeah, like a form of wiki up, but it was like a teepee.
Yeah.
So that story is then applied to a new item, as opposed to what you're saying, which is almost the opposite, where the story is adopted, the item remains the same, but the story is now adopted.
Okay.
That is the case with some things, though. For sure.
Yeah.
That's the case.
Yeah.
So my question is when in my time at Flathead, I would notice that there was like there was a division in the cultural perspective of the plains, right? There was certain Salish people that would say, we're not plains people, to the point where they almost rejected emphatically all things that represented the plains, like the pipe, even the horse. I heard comments made about the horse. Yeah. I heard this comment. In fact, this was an old story from Johnny Early where he said a museum was going to give back some pipes that belonged to the Salish, and some of the people there were saying, well, we don't want them because we're not pipe people. Which is, we all know that's wrong, right? Like but so then there's another group of Salish people where they still seem to have an affinity with the plains. Like that's their place.
Yeah.
The Sun and Smith Rivers and the Muscle Shell country and all.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes me wonder if both are true. Both are true because of what I was trying to get at. Like maybe there's these groups that are culturally the same groups. Yeah. And then as they get pushed and forced into small confined areas, there's also cultural politics.
What? Not again.
Did you get kicked out again?
Yes. I was just formulating a response.
Okay. Well,
I can't. Back. Yeah, I can't. I got to hear the rest of his question.
Yeah.
What was wrong with his device? I forgot.
Somebody's playing a little bit too much Candy Crush. Somebody's got a pretty good YouTube streaming. Probably that 15-minute YouTube that takes a bit of more buffering time. Maybe somebody's decided to download some photos from their photo bucket account. Maybe somebody's copy and pasting from Google some recipes. Or maybe you got someone that just got sent a funny TikTok in their messenger. They open it up and they're watching it. On top of maybe maybe your kids, maybe they got their Wi-Fi calling on and they're took a phone call talking to their bestie about the tea at school. That's sucking up all your Wi-Fi. Or maybe, just maybe, old Uncle Rico's parked out in the garage. Pull up in the driveway. He knows your password. He's talking to his honey through the Facebook talk or whatever that is. Facebook talk. Yeah, he's got his Facebook call to his honey over in Usk. Maybe he's got two honeys. Maybe he's got one on hold. The other one he's talking to, she's from Welcome It. And the other one's from Usk, and they're both kind of having a chat. Video chat, even. Video chat. That takes a lot of Wi-Fi. And that's just kind of sucking up all your Wi-Fi. Maybe you got some neighbors that kind of tapped in, hacked your system. That could happen, you know. You got a real easy password, you know, 12345, or your address, whatever that is. And they got on it, and they're going to town in their Netflix. I don't know what he said. He said he didn't know why he got kicked out.
Oh.
Actually, I kicked him out. I was getting sick of him. Both times I kicked him out. I was like, this guy talks too much.
Did you kick me out?
No, I didn't kick you out.
Okay, there was a group. There
Okay,
was
there's a
these groups, and then what?
Well, just, you know, then they get onto the reservation or whatever it is, and they become the cultural politics drives them to be the largest group. So that doesn't mean large in population, but large in like the way they view the world. So their stories become that. I heard a theory a long time ago from, I can't remember who it was, but when I first moved to Flathead, and there was a story about a monster, and in some of them groups, they actually said that story happened out kind of on the near the Yellowstone River by Livingston or something. I can't remember. But then there was people who say, no, it happened on the reservation. But that would, to me, now that makes sense why that would be, you know?
Yeah.
It could be that, but the groups, like, they really are not the same. Because the Ponder race were a lot more plateau than the Salish, because the Salish were the ones that had the bands that went out toward Muscle Shell, or they went out there for things. I don't know how long they stayed out there, but for seasons or whatever. And then the Ponder race were the other way. There's two bands of them for sure. Like, I don't know like anciently or historically, but I know ours was the lower or the upper. There's the lower and the upper. And then we have dialects, but our dialect is even similar to the Okanagans all the way up in Canada. So somewhere in there was some offshoot. And
so I think
like part of it too, it's like the melding of the stories, like definitely affected by the church coming, because, you know, when the church came, it came before church came to us before it went to a lot of people. And you know, that definitely had a huge effect. But then also the area where we're at, that's where the Ponderes were mainly at, you know, and then we were staying lower, you know, below Missoula. So whatever happened politically, I would say more the politics is what kind of changed all of that, because then when it came to the whole land grab and allotment and stuff like that, like, that really affected everything.
Well, I'm talking specifically about cultural politics, like tribes' cultural politics. Certain groups being the authorities and pushing out old narratives or different narratives, and certain narratives becoming dominant, that's
Yeah.
it's because that can happen without even the reservation, or without even the church, or without, it's just, I think it's just people in power, and wherever that power can happen.
Yep.
So my thought was just simply like, maybe there was a group that was primarily Buffalo people for a very long time, but because they weren't the politically cultural powerful group, when those, over time, their narratives be kind of pushed to the bottom, so then it makes them appear to be like a seasonal people, like, oh, they just went out there once in a while and then they came back, or really it's like that's just where they lived. That's just who they were. They were there.
Yeah. No,
So
that's
do you think
true.
that people in your communities talk about that stuff, or does it because the feeling I get, not to sound negative, but is that they don't look at culture that way. They look at it very like linear, and very, when the way they create curriculum to teach culture, it's like there's official versions of things, and I think that can be real dangerous.
It is. It is.
To like worldview.
I think it gives people an opportunity to really push back on understanding the past. This, if you think you already got it officially sanctioned, then what's the point of even trying to understand more? It's like, well, we already know. So
exactly,
So
it's already there. It's all there.
Yeah,
it's just all there right now. We don't have to explore anything else or examine anything else.
Yeah.
When really,
we got it figured out.
I think that the preservationists on the Flathead Reservation are just now getting to that point. They're just now getting to the early stages of questioning things like that.
Yeah.
Dissecting problems and dissecting narratives.
Yeah, trying to break the mold of the past. I just went through my master list of our sort of creation stories that I've been putting together over I don't know how many decades. And I found 3 stories about the buffalo. And get this, 2 stories about whales. Out of the, I don't know, 100 or so that I have.
All right. Okay. Well, let's unlock that after a bit.
Yeah.
What?
So it's interesting because it points to this, and I doubt, and this is what I doubt in what you're saying. I doubt there was a dominant group going around policing creation stories. Oh no, you're talking about, don't talk about whales, talk about buffalo.
But there was
we're the dominant ones. I don't how, why? I mean, that seems strange.
That's what culture committees do.
No, I'm talking about the past. I'm talking about the past, dude.
No, I'm not saying that they policed people. I'm saying that. So if we go back to this luck thing, let's go back to this luck thing.
Okay.
Bear with me. If there's a certain group of people that seem to be producing lucky and fortunate people, right? That means those people are going to be used for things in ceremony, things in name giving, things, right? So let's just say there's a certain group of people that, for whatever era, they seem to be producing these people. That also means when a young warrior wants to pursue his career and his warrior career, he's going to get a lucky person to guide him, or to maybe even use their sacred powers or whatever. So those people, their advice and whatever they're telling this young warrior, it's going to be from their thing. So if you start to look at your oral histories, you'll find that they're rooted in the same people. Like you'll go to like, oh, this story comes from so-and-so. This story comes from so-and-so. Now, why did those stories survive as opposed to Joe Schmo's story? It's because people were using that person. People were finding credibility in that person, and people were finding cultural value in that person. Now, that person can be part of a bigger group, and there's several people in that group that are seen that way. And then pretty soon that group's thing becomes that. Now they're not walking around saying your story's horrible. We're not gonna, it's just what are they being used for?
Yeah.
So, like, for example, there was a time where the Sorlip clan of the Crows was producing a lot of leaders. There was a lot of like chiefs and headmen and prestigious warriors coming from the Sorlip people.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean they're out there bullying everybody to be in the forefront. It's just that's just kind of happened
Yeah.
naturally. So that also means like Chief Plentycoo's, there was a book wrote about him, right?
Yeah.
Well, he's a Sorlip. Pretty Shield, there's a book wrote about her. She's a Sorlip.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that means those two stories are Sorlip people. So that becomes their stories are the most talked about male and female version of Crow individuality today is Plentycoo's and Pretty Shield. Now the Pretty Shield story is going to become this spokesman story for all Crow women. When that's not the case in reality, but it becomes that because it's the Crow female narrative, right? So her stories become known. So whenever we're talking about women in the Northern Plains, Pretty Shield gets brought up. It doesn't mean she put herself there or she pushed somebody out, but because her story is prominent, right?
Yeah.
So that's my idea that just because, like, say there's two stories of whales, that can mean a lot of things.
Yeah.
It could also just mean there's two instances, so they remembered them. It could also mean that there was thousands of whale stories, but nobody cared about the whale guy.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
those two stories survived.
Yeah.
So that's my question is when I talk about the plains with Flathead people or Salish people in the buffalo, there's this weird thing that happens where it's like, wow, we're not really that. We're not really this. We're kind of that. And then some people are like all about it. We're totally plains people. So my question, my thought was it's like, why do some of those versions get pushed out? Some get pushed to the forefront. And we've had this conversation now where there's a lot of Salish people wearing basket hats and going on canoe journey. You know what I mean?
The
But
basket.
the video
Yeah. Well, some of that I remember listening to the episode and I was getting after Shandin. Some of that stuff was a part of who we were because now it's like we're so intermixed. That's the other thing too, is we're so intermixed between Pondere and Salish. Like that's a whole thing, but because we were like that, like we have lots of stories like about our life being plateau, and just because those things are pretty much gone, like in terms of the women who were always practicing that, somehow, like beading or whatever, like weaving, somehow that thing never made it. And so then you have like a few people who know that their great grandmas did it or whatever. And then there's there are still pictures, like they made it, like some people made it to the point like where the camera was here and they had these weavings, but then it just never made it, just never carried on. And a lot of those things we traded for, and so it was there. It just wasn't something that was like the strong thing. And so then it went away. So then it's gone, so then you have people who try to do it, but it's all awkward now. It's like in that awkward stage, one of those awkward things, like because there's so many people that don't know anything about it. Like even when they try to do it, it's real strange. It's like, oh, that's not us, or somebody would think that's not who we are, but mainly it's because that's pretty much something that kind of like just dissipated off of what we were before. But that's the same as like when people will say we weren't horsemen. Like I've heard that before, like we weren't. I'm like, what? Like that's not true. Like that's definitely not true. Like we were really good horsemen. Like we have stories like of when the I don't know, whoever does the Pony Express would come up and get horses from us. So I don't know, like some of that stuff just went away, but that was out of our control, but now it's like all the all the intermarriage and all the cultural melding, like when you have somebody trying to go back, trying to get that guidance, and then you have somebody who's taken that authority upon themselves to be the cultural bearer or whatever. Maybe they are more Pondere, or maybe they are more Salish or whatever, and then they end up, telling what they know, and then that's what gets carried on, and then just like you're saying, just because that's who kind of got appointed to do that job, and nowadays, it feels like just to do that, sort of like you gotta get paid to do that. Like you can't just, like you gotta kind of have that job. Like it's literally, you literally have a W-4 for that.
You gotta claim some certain exemptions. And,
well, I ain't even gonna do it. I ain't even do it unless
benefits. Yeah,
unless they play mileage per diem.
Yeah, cultural propagation, that's hard work, and I really need to be compensated for that with benefits.
Yeah.
What do you got to offer?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Can you match my current rates? Anyway, that was just a thought. It was just a side thing, because there's like things that when I lived there that I kind of always went home and questioned, but I had no right to say. And I still don't, but it's just curiosity, because
it's interesting, because the same thing happens as we imagine happened in the past. I think it's just there's a dominant group that subscribes to a certain thing, and that dominant group happens to be whatever's sort of sanctioned by the current tribal government, I guess. So they set the standard for those who want to know and for those who need to know.
And that doesn't necessarily mean that their intentions are all negative. So, for example, culture committees, there is proof that there's some negativity that comes out of those endeavors. But the intention was to preserve as much as we can, and to also make things like accessible. But in doing that, things are edited, meaning like for example, there's like 2 or 3 versions of the Crow creation story, but and by no fault of the culture committee, they kind of prescribe to one, right? Or subscribe. I can't remember what the word is, but and so that became the official Crow creation story. Which also meant that these other ones kind of got pushed to the side just as a result of that.
It became redundant, right?
Pretendant.
Redundant. It was redundant. So that was just my thought. Okay. Like I was just kind of thinking about that and the buffalo, and just that if Salish people do know that about their presence on the plains, and when we say plains, that's really loose, because I don't really consider the Northern Rockies and the Yellowstone ecosystem part of the plains and the way that is normally designated, because I would not consider the Crow people a pure plains people. We're not. I think we're like an in-between, much like the Blackfeet, much like the Shoshone, and much like the Bitterroot Salish. We're probably more alike in those groups than we are with like Omahas, who are our plains people. Omaha and the Ponca.
It would behoove you to say their names correctly. Otherwise, they may be reticent to speak to you.
It would behoove us to probably stop now, because we're going on. How long has this been going?
I don't know.
How long we've been recording?
I don't know.
Yeah, we talked for like 45 minutes about this other thing.
Yeah. There's a whole new, and this is, you've seen it, the whole nother pride in the other Salish group that lives on the Flathead Reservation. That started, seemed like, within the last couple decades.
I witnessed it. I feel like I witnessed it.
Yeah.
When I first moved there, that wasn't the case. And then it when it started showing up, it came strong.
Yeah.
And actually, that's, and I'm not saying that's negative or positive, but just the idea that putting themselves in the forefront, and you're talking about the Pondere.
Yeah. Yeah.
To me, I noticed it when the late Pat Pierre became more of a cultural figure. And I got
Yeah.
along with Pierre. I go and sweat with him, and like I learned a lot from him. So, but once he became a cultural figure through the
Yeah.
language school, and it
Yeah.
seemed like with him, and of course he's not the only one, right?
Sure.
But
Sure.
again,
But I think
a
that's
person
a
at the forefront represents,
Yeah.
you know,
yeah. That's just a sign of that. What the hell was I going to say? Now I already forgot. That's sort of a sign of that idea that things are malleable, not so
They
set
are.
in stone. And I would hope that young people listening to this would take that whole idea that, yeah, you can look at Salish and you can see, okay, well, yeah, there's two different Salish groups there, and we can promote a certain level of independence culturally from one of the other groups. That even though that was sort of
there's a healthy way to do that.
even though that was sort of ingrained a bit in even in the tribal government paraphernalia, if you will. But
Yeah.
you have to inspect all the creation stories and say, well, what are these? Where these come from, and how did we sort through them, and are they even intact? What there's more to learn there. They're not set in stone.
And I think it could be fun. I think that somebody would have a lot of fun doing that, learning that stuff. It would be pretty cool. And I think it's coming and it's in its early stages, but it'll be fun to see Salish scholars start to question those boundaries.
Yeah.
You could say that there is a legitimate resurgence of Salish and Ponderay worldview and participation.
Yeah.
So maybe it's in a healthier state now to start looking and examining those things. It'd be kind of cool to see, you know.
Yes, we shouldn't let culture become perfunctory or ossified in its current state.
Perfunctory, yes. You can always culture to become perfunctory.
No.
That means
made your hat go sideways. That's enough, man. It's enough. Okay. Enough. Quit it.
I think we need to have Salisha more on the pod.
Yeah, I know.
On the pod.
Yeah. You round us out a bit.
It's kind of like
I think so.
Kind of like a beanbag, right?
Kind of like a beanbag. Like you got it in a corner, looks cool and comfy, sit on it every now and then. But then it gets kind of hot, so you got to get up.
No, I'm the guy on the couch. Am I the guy on the couch?
Guy on the couch. Yeah, Salisha's the guy on the couch.
Yeah.
And every once in a while we'll be like, right, Salisha? She's like, you guys are idiots. No. I can't. I'm having this problem, Salisha, and hopefully you can help me with this. I'm having a problem getting Shandin to argue with me. I want him to argue with me more.
He's not gonna argue
and he
with
won't
you.
do it. He won't do it. I'm like, come on, dude. Like, I need some heat on the pod.
Well,
I don't know. Are we talking about Thanksgiving?
Just anything.
We have to figure out.
Oh wait, was that an issue?
We have to figure out a topic that we disagree on. Then that's what we got to do.
Oh yeah. I don't think you guys disagree on much though.
That's a tough one. We'll have to let's think of something we disagree on.
I'm sure this.
Maybe it'll be our final episode.
You should have a formal. You should have a formal debate and then debrief. There you go.
That means that we would have to find a topic where I'm on the opposing, and our problem is that most of the time I'm in agreement with Shandin. I think more so than he's in agreement with me.
Yeah.
But
that's what we need.
Recently, though, I asked him, I said, we need to get this lady on the podcast who I sent you that YouTube link. I can't remember her name, but I want her on the podcast. And you were like, I don't know. Because I want to argue with her. And I think she'd be up for it.
How would you do it? How would you do it, though? It would be so hard.
I would flat out tell her, like, I oppose what you say, but willing to have you on the podcast to have an intellectual conversation. We don't have to argue.
Oh, okay.
But I'm also, I also have a lot of respect for people who are staunch in their beliefs. Like she went on record to say what she said.
My steaks are
And
getting
man,
staunch.
that's
That's what it
cool.
reminds me of when somebody says staunch. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Anyway, I just think it's cool that she was willing to come out and say all that stuff.
Yeah.
And you should show the video, send the link to Salisha, because
Okay.
I think I have a lot
Yeah.
of respect for people who have a stance.
Sure, even if it's cuckoo, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah.
My feet are getting staunch.
Well, that's assuming that I'm right all the time. I think there's a lot of people that think I'm cuckoo, so
Yeah, okay.
and I don't
right.
think
Let's get
respect Aaron
yeah. Let's get some
for
cuckoo
his
people on.
content. It's more. Yeah, that's what
You
I
want-
want you
you
to
wanna
say.
get
And you
cuckoo?
agree to again
Okay.
Yeah.
I got a cuckoo
for
guest.
Cocoa Puff.
I got some cuckoo guests then.
Oh my God.
All right,
Okay.
let's do it.
Yeah, let's get the cuckoo. Let's get crazy going. Mix it up. All right, you want to go there?
Let's do it.
You want to go there? Let's do it.
You
do.
guys might have to have some introductions and land acknowledgements.
No, we still.